Hey guys, so today I'm going to be looking at more Am I Wrong stories. Yeah, let's just get right into the video. So my fiance comes from a well-off family. I come from a working class family. My fiance's family are nice, but they can't help throwing comments at me about how I might be a gold digger. For example, if he buys me something, they'll go, "Oh, Jason bought you that? You know what this looks like, right?" Or wait, Jason paid for this? Only gold diggers make their partners pay for their stuff all the time. Just saying. It's so demeaning, and my fiance does nothing to stop it. Especially now that he's in a bad place in life after he lost his job. And since he's keeping it secret then, I'm the one paying for everything. This has been going on for 4 months. Last week, his parents invited us for dinner and he insisted that we go, so we went. At dinner table, his mum grabbed my hand, literally while I was eating, and looked at my bracelet and went, "Oh, this bracelet looks really nice. Did Jason pay for it?" I nodded and reminded her that he bought it for me as a birthday gift last year. She was like, wonder how much it costs. She then leaned back and said, "You know, I remember when my brother was dating this gold digger woman. She'd receive expensive stuff like this bracelet here for her birthdays." I was stunned. I cut her off and asked if she meant to say that I was a gold digger. She threw her hands up and went, "I mean, if the shoe fits," while laughing awkwardly. Silence took over. I looked at my fiance and he shook his head at me like, "What?" I snapped. I told her it was bold of her to imply I was a gold digger when I'm literally providing for her unemployed son, who have been for 4 months now. They all looked shocked. She glanced at me in shock and his dad asked if it was true, and my fiance just froze but looked so angry. An argument ensued and dinner was cut short and we had to leave after they started berating him. He had a rage fit in the car, just yelling and lashing at me. In my defense, I said that he sat by and let his mum continually imply that I was a gold digger, but he said that they never outright called me a gold digger, so it was all in my head. He said I still had no right to take advantage of his unfortunate circumstance to get back at his mum and expose him to the family. His parents went on about how disappointed they were, and now as a result, he got disinvited from Thanksgiving. He blew up at me because of it this morning and kept saying I screwed him over so badly when he was just an innocent bystander. What? His family sounds toxic and he sounds stupid. What a family, honestly. The family was obviously trying to imply that she was a gold digger. Like, they just kept using the word gold digger whenever she came around. Obviously, they're implying something. And the husband, why can't you just be honest about your freaking unemployment? Jeez. It's the fact, though. It's not like she told a lie to embarrass him. It's literally the fact. If you're unemployed and you're embarrassed about it, then maybe try to get employed. And that's her fiance. He doesn't even have her back. That would not be my fiance anymore. Seriously. He literally let them put her down like that. And he wanted to just be like, "No, don't do anything about it." Are you kidding me? If you're going to be marrying this woman, you better have her back. Honestly. Like, if I was marrying someone, he better have my back. He can't let his family insult me because I would not be taking that. Like, no way. Seriously, why would you even want to marry into a family like that, though? Just look at how his family treats their own son just because he's unemployed. We can already tell how freaking toxic that family is. You don't treat your own son like that, even if he's unemployed. He's still part of the family. Like, how do you disinvite your own son? What the heck? And then he's gonna yell at her and then lash out at her when all she did was just say the truth. Obviously, she has to tell the truth if you're not sticking up for her. Obviously. If your parents are always gonna be like, "Oh, she's such a gold digger," and you're unemployed and you're gonna try to tell her to shut up. Like, why aren't you sticking up for your partner? He should have at least been, "No, she's not. She's done so much for me. She's amazing. She's not." But nope, he just wants to keep quiet. Pathetic. I have been with my wife Ava for 8 years now. We've been married for 5. She was a single mum of 3 kids when we started dating. She had 2 daughters, now 10 and 12, and a son, now 16. I've watched these kids grow up. I've read the bedtime stories, done bath time, the first days of school, PTA meetings, all of it. I very much consider them to be my kids, and they've been calling me mum for almost 6 years now. My brother Ivan just had a baby girl with his fiancée Sarah. I love my niece, and my kids adore their cousin. My kids have been the only grandchildren on my side of the family since Ava and I got together, and there's never been a moment where the kids and my wife were treated like they didn't belong. My brother is their uncle. My mum and dad are the nana and pop. The kids see my family as their family, and I always thought that my family felt the same way about them. The kids and I were over at my brother's house just hanging out, and my parents ended up dropping by with gifts for my niece. I even laughed when he saw the toys and told our mum and dad that they were going to end up spoiling her rotten. My mum said since my niece is their first grandchild, of course they have to spoil her. My kids were sitting in the living room with all of us, and my youngest daughter looked hurt when she realized what my mother said. My son and my 12-year-old didn't fully react to it, but I could tell that it bothered the both of them too. Sarah spoke up and said, "Oh, you mean first grandbaby, not first grandchild." My dad shook his head and replied that my niece was their first grandchild. I didn't want my kids to keep sitting there and listening to that, so I handed my son my keys and told him to wait in the car with his sisters. When they were gone, I asked my parents why they would say that my kids weren't their grandchildren, and my mum said they couldn't be the grandchildren because they weren't really my children. My wife and I were going to be hosting Thanksgiving at our house this year, but I told my parents that if they didn't view my kids as their family, then they could just host a meal at their own house with their real family while I spent the holiday with mine. I left before they could say anything else to me, and my wife and I reiterated to the children that they will always be my kids and I will always be the other mum regardless of DNA. My brother is pissed at me now because he thinks I reacted too harshly and that I should try to see where my parents are coming from. My mum texted us saying that she and my dad love the kids, but they still aren't the grandchildren, and she hopes that we can come to understand that because she doesn't want to ruin my niece's first Thanksgiving. I haven't replied back. I meant what I said, but I'm worried that maybe I'm reacting too harshly. I adopted all 3 of the kids about 4 years ago, so they aren't just my parents' step-grandchildren. Even if I hadn't legally adopted them, they would still be my kids in my eyes. Wow, why did their parents try to push it that hard? Because even Sarah was like trying to fix the situation, and she was like, "Oh, first grandbaby, not the first grandchild because they are your first grandchild." But the parents really had to be like, "Nope, they're not my grandchildren because they're not from my blood, so no." Like, bro, read the freaking situation. It's not even that hard. You know, if they love them so much, then they should be accepted as their grandchildren. Like, think about how upset the kids would be thinking that, oh, we're just not family to you. You know, that's so upsetting. I just feel so bad. It's just like getting married, right? And your partner has a kid, and then you're gonna be like, "No, you're not my kid because we're not blood related." Like, what? Why would you get married then? And I do know a lot of people think like this. If you're not blood related, then they're not really your kid or they're not really your grandkids. I think that's just dumb. I feel like any kid can be your kid as long as you love them as your own kid. Like, we have situations where people have their biological kids, but they don't even treat them well like a biological kid. You know, and then we have other situations where someone adopts a kid and then they're treated amazing. So, which is better? Someone treating the kid amazing or someone treating the kid not amazing? You know, blood doesn't even matter there. Ah, so sad. My boyfriend of almost a year invited me to dinner with his family. Never met them prior to that. The only thing I knew about them is that they're conservative and Christians but lovely people, and they were. I got along really well with them before dinner. They were lovely and talkative. When it was time for dinner, my boyfriend's dad wanted to pray. After praying, he said something along the lines of, "Let us dig and let the food keep us quiet." This is a pretty popular saying in our country, mostly told to young children in school. My understanding of this has always been that you shouldn't speak with food in your mouth or be extremely loud at the table. I wouldn't say it's a cultural thing though. I dug in, took a bite. It was fish soup. Absolutely delicious. And you know, like a good guest, I wanted to compliment the cook. "This is delicious. Is it saffron? A perfect autumn soup." My boyfriend's brother looked surprised. My boyfriend's father hushed me. Big time. A really aggressive shh with a finger over his lips. And then he said again, "Let the food keep us quiet." I apologized because I thought I had accidentally spoken with food in my mouth or something. But a few minutes passed and nobody said a word. Super awkward and weird, especially since they had been so talkative before. My boyfriend was also unusually quiet. After a few minutes, I was too weirded out and asked about their day and how nice it was that they invited me there, and his mother did the hush thing. So awkward. I think this is when it clicked. No speaking at all at the table. Let the food keep us quiet. Really quiet. But this was a super awkward situation and I couldn't deal with that. Imagine sitting at a table with 5 people, everybody eating soup looking dead serious. So I laughed. It just slipped out. Ended up being told off by boyfriend's parents that I was being disrespectful, etc. And if I didn't respect how the household worked, I could eat alone in the kitchen. We were eating in like a separate dining room. So I thanked them for the food and left to the hotel me and my boyfriend stayed at. My boyfriend later told me that was an asshole move, that I should have just kept quiet or eat alone in the kitchen. I understand the family tradition and rules, but it was so weird. I just couldn't take it anymore. What the frick? They don't talk at all. Isn't having dinner the time to talk to people? I've always thought of that as the case. Everyone is at the table having dinner, right? So you should all talk about your days. Like, what happened here, and talk about whatever you want to talk about. No? How do you even catch up then? What's the point of having dinner with everyone when you can't catch up with them? Like, I thought dinner at the table was to catch up with your family, because that's what dinner is for me. You know, it's also like having dinner with your friend, right? You're catching up with them. I'm confused. I'm actually so confused. Well, I don't know if it's a cultural thing because I don't want to be like judgmental and be like, oh my gosh, right? But I just feel like if that was the case, why didn't the boyfriend warn them before she came? You know? Why wasn't the boyfriend like, oh yeah, my family doesn't talk during dinner, so let's not talk at all? He should have told her instead of dragging her into this. Dude, can you just imagine? All you hear is people chewing and slurping and just nom 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 nom. Oh no. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.